Stage. Big news out of the college football world. Lane Kiffin has accepted the job at LSU. He will not be coaching Ole Miss in the college football playoff. The university denied him the access to. Apparently, Kiffin is getting paid around $12 million a year on a $7 million or 7-year contract. And Giants Patriots tonight, live from Foxborough at 5:15. New England is currently a 7.5-point favorite. Point total is set at 46.5. The Patriots win. They will be tied atop for the number 1 seed with the Denver Broncos in the AFC. Macy's Backstage is a whole department inside your Macy's store where you can find so many holiday essentials, all for under $25 with new arrivals every day. You never know what amazing deals you'll find. Don't wait. Find a location at macy'sbackstage.com.
Welcome to the Fletch Zone. Fletch Zone.
I'm Ben Fletch. That's Sammy Long.
To the Fletch Zone.
Not like other guys.
Where are we going in sports?
Sound off like you got a pair.
We have a lot to work off after the long weekend. A rough time for the Aztecs.
Jump ball, and it's out of the back of the end zone. New Mexico wins in 2 overtimes.
And SDFC.
A lot to be proud of, a lot to build on going into next February, and I'm excited for 2026.
Meanwhile, the NFL didn't disappoint.
The kick is on the way. It's a line drive towards the uprights. It is good! And the Jets mob the folk hero.
What a win for the Carolina Panthers, knocking off the number 1 team in the NFC. Denver with the blitz on the way.
Ball deflected by Nick Bonito, and the Broncos win it.
Sammy, what happened?
There's a Landry shift up and down. Prescott takes the ball, takes the knee. The Cowboys are going to beat both the Eagles and the Chiefs.
Like, what the heck just happened?
While the 49ers shut down the dog pound.
Shotgun snap for Purdy. Takes the give. He runs left. He's got a nose to the goal line, and he's in for a 49ers touchdown.
Plus Giants Patriots tonight. Time to unpack it all in the Fletch Zone.
All right, here we go. Happy Monday, everybody. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. What Thanksgiving week for San Diego sports, huh? Aztecs basketball, they lose 2 out of 3 in Las Vegas. They debut at number 123 in the net rankings, which is the primary metric that the selection committee will use on Selection Sunday. Now it's early. They still have a lot of time to fix that 123, but woof, that's a low debut, man. Aztecs football, they drop a double overtime game in New Mexico, and metrics decide that they don't belong in the Mountain West Championship game. SDFC rides a magical, historical season all the way up to the Western Conference Finals and get beat out by a bunch of Canadians. As a sports fan living in San Diego, I'd say we're used to getting kicked in the nards repeatedly over the last few decades, but this last week has been an especially pungent kick in the nards. So happy holidays, everybody. At least 4 new episodes of Stranger Things came out over the last few days, and they were all fantastic, by the way. But man, the only saving grace that San Diegans had this weekend is that the Kansas City Chiefs lost on Thanksgiving to the Dallas Cowboys, which brings us to one Sammy Long, who not only is a San Diego State alum who had to kind of suffer through that week of San Diego State sports, not only is a massive SDFC fan in their first inaugural season and had to watch that unfold, but is his true love, really the only love of your life, if you think about it, maybe outside of your parents. The Kansas City Chiefs fall to 6-6 on the year. That's a 500 record after 12 games. The Kansas City Chiefs have a 30-ish% chance to make the postseason 47. At this point. I saw 30-ish.
47. It's 47.
Maybe depending on what metrics you're looking at. You're looking at the Sammy Long metrics. I was looking at NFL.com, so maybe that's a little different. But the Kansas City Chiefs fall to 6-6 on the year. Sammy, at least it was during Thanksgiving. You had some turkey, some rolls.
No,
some pie.
I was doing a list. By the way, our text line is still not working. We're trying to get it figured out. So if you want to troll
That's
me,
called a deflection.
No, we're gonna get the Chiefs. San Diego Sports 760, our stream on YouTube, or Fletch and Sammy on X. We'd love to hear from you. Or a talkback. We got the little red talkback mic. You can send a talkback. We will play it. I was doing a list yesterday of the worst holidays I've ever had. And honestly, I think this is right firmly at the top. I mean, it was an atrocious Thanksgiving. I never want to see the Chiefs play on Thanksgiving ever again. It started, I knew the day was going to be bad because we had a fight the day before with some extended family members who I won't get into in case they're listening and I don't want to hear about this later. they wanted to eat during the game.
Sure.
I said, that's fine. I won't be showing up to Thanksgiving.
I was eating during the Chiefs game, actually. It was delicious.
They found out the hard truth that I like the Kansas City Chiefs more than being around family. I'm sorry. It's just I like them a lot more than hearing a story about Aunt Marge and what pills she's taking for the 30th time. So anyway, then the game's going on, and we get to the fourth quarter. The Chiefs are down 10. My dad and I are having a meltdown, and listen, if you're trying to learn the game of football, if you're trying to get into it,
sure,
and you're like, I want to understand, that's fantastic. This is not what I'm talking about. If you're trying to understand what's going on, I'm all happy to help. When you're feigning interest, when the Chiefs are down 10 in the fourth quarter and talking about your damn fantasy team, certain family members that were visiting.
No, not to be a psychologist here, but is there any chance that you're maybe misplacing some anger here? Like the anger that should be directed at the team is all of a sudden flaring out into anger that's now being directed at relatives who have nothing to do with what's going on in the field?
I got to a point where I stopped talking to relatives in the fourth quarter because they were asking idiotic questions.
Okay.
And my dad did the same thing as well.
I think maybe there is some misplaced anger here.
And then, of course, we have to
now
eat.
It's genetics, so that's not good.
And pretend like we're thankful for a lot of stuff and hear all the stories. So, listen, was
maybe
it a good?
Sammy should not have children because you're just going to pass this anger on down.
Listen, was it a good Thanksgiving? Absolutely not. If you're a Cowboy fan, congrats. I told you the Cowboys were going to be good last week. Fletch and I got in a big argument. But then
now you might be right. Congratulations.
I told everyone with the Bears and the Cowboys. Unfortunately, it came at the expense of my Chiefs. But yeah, it was not a good holiday. Fletch, how was yours?
Oh, it was actually I was working a ton of it. Which isn't a bad thing. Like I really do enjoy what I do for work and covering the Aztecs the way I do. They did not help me out with results very much. So instead of having a ton of fun working,
terrible weekend for everything I like.
Jesus, it was bad. But like you come down to it, and honestly, I had a great Thanksgiving. I got to watch 4 upsets over 2 days of NFL football, and then more chaos unfold yesterday. I know, like maturing is realizing sometimes that the thing that you hear, just like we heard from Steve Hartman last Wednesday, the thing you hear from Steve that sticks out as, oh, that was the dumbest thing he's ever said, is actually the 100% truth, I think is what happened this weekend in the NFL. Because Steve said there's no great teams in the NFL in 2025. And both me and Sammy were like, what the hell is he talking about? Like the Los Angeles Rams exist.
Well, heading into the week, the Rams looked like
they look great,
far and away the best team in the NFL.
And then the Rams get beat by the Panthers. And then over Thanksgiving and Black Friday, every single underdog wins the game. It's just this week showed you a lot about the NFL. And I got to say, if this is what we're in for in the NFL postseason, I think that's great. Look, the Broncos, who are maybe the best team in the NFL right now. Yeah, I'm not being hyperbolic. The Broncos don't look good at all. How about on the other side, the Rams, who were the number 1 seed. Now it's the Bears. Like, are the Bears the best team in the NFC? The answer is no, but they're at the top right now.
Well, I think you have what you have are, it's always, the game has always been dominated by quarterbacks. And there's a real possibility that Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes are missing the playoffs. And Josh Allen, we think he's going to get in, is going to be a wild card in all likelihood. Probably not catching New England. So what you see is then in the NFC,
way, all of a sudden the Bengals are going to be a real problem for teams the rest of the way.
Well, right. You look at the AFC and you go, okay, the top of the class are the Patriots and the Broncos in terms of record, but like watching the Broncos, I don't think that's a Super Bowl team. Like, I'm sorry, like nothing about last night showed me that the Broncos are a Super Bowl team. I think New England has a higher ceiling than your Colts, your Jags, your Broncos, your teams like that, because they have a coach who's been there before. I know Sean Payton has with Denver before, but I think they just have a better quarterback in Drake May than all those teams. But it's just going to make for a wild AFC playoff picture in NFC, because it's someone unproven is going to make a name for themselves this year, in all likelihood, and kind of going to change the fortune of that franchise going forward.
All right, here's how the next 2 hours, or I guess 1 hour and 50 minutes are going to go, because we have a ton to get to and very little time to do so. So we are going to cover the Lane Kiffin drama in college football.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to react to what was a really great season for San Diego State football, and which should give you a lot of confidence about the future of San Diego State football. We are going to talk about where the Aztecs are right now in terms of March Madness, because, look, it's already matters. And their first net rankings of the year was a very, very bad one. We'll talk about how they can maybe overcome some of that. We'll talk about SDFC. Look, you take away whatever you want from that season. I got nothing but gratitude for SDFC and what they did this year.
Oh, yeah.
And, dude, I'm telling you, Major League Baseball needs to get on this right now, because there is something you could steal so easily from the MLS. And I got a whole thing about that that's coming up in a little bit. And then the NFL is just absolute pure chaos, which is exactly what we want out of the NFL. And by the way, the San Francisco 49ers are trending in a very positive direction right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you get to play that schedule, it's very easy to.
It's all the schedule, Sammy. That's all it is. All right, it is San Diego Sports 760. We do something called the Big Three, where Sammy rips through the top stories in the world of sports. We're going to do that right now. Sammy, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
Such an easy schedule, except, the Rams had a lot of trouble with that easy Carolina Panthers team that the Niners took down.
I'm just the one thing that's giving me some hope this holiday season is that Niner fans are starting to get excited. That's what really,
dude, rightfully so. All of a sudden, Robert Saleh's got these young defensive players getting ready to go. The offense is humming again.
All my Niners haters out there, just be patient.
Oh, I am ready to be hurt again.
When it gets cold and Brock Purdy in that arm going into Philly, it's gonna be real.
So you asked me how my week was, Sammy. Monday through Thursday, Friday, really, because of all the San Diego State stuff, I would say my week kind of sucked. It was
a rough sports week.
I had my father-in-law in town. We were watching football, drinking beers, doing stuff around the house. Like, it was great to have him, and we had a nice, relaxing Thanksgiving. But my weekend up until Friday kind of sucked. And then all of a sudden, this weekend was amazing because the Niners won 4 new episodes of Stranger Things, which were all great, by the way.
I'm only 1 in right now.
Dude, you got to get through them like today. Monday Night Football, who cares? Watch Stranger Things. It's so good. But yeah, that was all great. So, Sammy, where are we going with the Big Three?
We're starting with, Bills Steelers. Bills go in there, rush for historic margin, or historic amount of yards against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Boo Birds come down. People chanting in Pittsburgh for Mike Tomlin to be fired. He addressed it after the game, kind of talked about how he's feeling, everything that they're feeling in terms of frustration with the offense. Should Mike Tomlin be fired if the Pittsburgh Steelers don't make the playoffs?
Look, for years now, we've heard this every year around this time. It's like the Steelers are consistently average, right? They're consistently good, slightly above average maybe, but consistently average. And Mike Tomlin every year at this point, over the last 5 or so, has been getting chance for him to get fired. One of my best friends since preschool, biggest Steelers fan I've ever met in my life, he's finally shut the door on it and said, yeah, it's time for Tomlin to go. Here's the reason. If you were going to pick preseason the problem of this Steelers team, you would have pointed to Aaron Rodgers. You would have pointed to the offense that lost George Pickens. That has not been the problem for the Steelers this year. Yeah, I saw Aaron Rodgers after the game talking smack about his wide receivers. It's Aaron Rodgers. What do you expect him to do? He's going to do something like that at least once a year. This time it's happened like 3 times this year. But if you're going to point blame on this Pittsburgh Steelers team, James Cook just ran roughshod all over him. One of the best rushing defenses of my entire lifetime has been the Pittsburgh Steelers year in and year out. The defense has been the problem. Mike Tomlin is the defensive guy. Maybe this is the year. However, he does get scooped up immediately.
So I've always been anti-fire Mike Tomlin. I've always thought Steeler fans were kind of crazy for getting after him. I think it could be time to part ways, but not because Mike Tomlin's not doing a good job. I mean, yes, has there been problems? 100%. And sometimes it's just you hear the same voice for too long in a locker room and you need a change. I agree with you. I think he gets scooped up immediately. If I'm the Giants, I am calling Mike Tomlin immediately and paying him whatever he wants.
I'm trying to get a Lane Kiffin deal out of him. I'm trying to get him before the season's over.
Yeah. I mean, but the Pittsburgh Steelers, I hear that the defensive side of the ball is not great. They're the highest spending team on defense. So Mike Tomlin falls blame on that. But Arthur Smith, an offensive coordinator, and again, as I'm talking, I guess this kind of goes back to Mike Tomlin for hiring him. Arthur Smith, multiple times in that game, on 3rd and 10s, decided to run the ball. Run the ball. Like, if I was a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I would be losing my mind. The offense is pretty bad. I mean, outside of DK Metcalf, like, who is there at the receiver spot? You saw George Pickens tear it up against the Chiefs, tear it up against the Eagles. You could have had him as a receiver duo. You trade him out of town. So, listen, maybe it's time. But it's hard for me to completely kill Tomlin when it's like they have not had a quarterback since Big Ben.
For the first time in a long time, it appears that Pittsburgh has deep-rooted entire organization problems. And it's been one of the more stable organizations of my entire lifetime. And now all of a sudden, it's like there's problems and there's leaks and there's issues in the front. Like, Steelers are heading for a bad territory, and this may be a benefit to Mike Tomlin as well, walking out the door.
Yeah. All right, let's head to college football. So one of the craziest stories, Lane Kiffin. Team, 99.9% chance Ole Miss is going to the college football playoff. They are going to be in.
It's like a 5 seed too.
Yeah, as a legit, like a team that had, I mean, they're not Ohio State or anything like that, but they have a legit chance. So accepts a job at LSU, making $12 million a year, 7-year contract. He asked to stay and coach at Ole Miss through the college football playoff. The AD says, no, you're done. You're going to LSU. LSU put a clause in there as it came out this morning. However, so Lane Kiffin was going to get paid $150,000 per game they won in the college football playoff. He will get paid that by LSU for how long Ole Miss goes. So if Ole Miss wins 2 games in the college football playoff, LSU will pay him $300,000 on top of the deal they just gave him for $91 million. What do you think of this? Do you think Lane Kiffin's at the right? A lot of people are criticizing him. Where do you land on the deal going to LSU, kind of spurning Ole Miss?
Look, I get, but again, with Sammy at Thanksgiving misplacing anger towards his sweet relatives who are just trying to ask questions, I think anger is misplaced in this situation towards Lane Kiffin. Why would you be mad at a guy who was just playing the game? This is what college football is now. I think it's a big problem. I don't think it's good that Lane Kiffin is able to do this and, quite frankly, abandon his team. I don't care what he says about, I want to stay with the team. That's great. You kind of have to say that. But the AD at Ole Miss is absolutely in the right, saying, no, screw you, dude. You're going to try to poach some of our players, some of our offensive coaches, some of our defensive coaches on your way out the door. Screw you. You are not coaching this team the rest of the way. But in Lane Kiffin's defense, how many of his players were going to do this exact same thing at the end of this year? This is what college football is now. And coaches have always had the freedom to do this, but coaches rarely did it in this public of fashion. Now, this is going to start happening all the time. So Lane Kiffin, who was the kind of hot guy on the list for everybody to go hire, early signing window is like this Wednesday. The head coach needs to be in place for the early signing window to take place. You got a bunch of recruits lining up who are trying to decide between LSU, between Alabama, between like all the big schools. Right now is their time to bring in some freshmen. Lane Kiffin needs to be there. I don't blame him at all. I blame the system of what college football is right now because it's a crappy system.
I think it's ridiculous that Lane Kiffin is getting like crucified online for this. I mean, Lane Kiffin, yes, was it a move for him? LSU is a much bigger program than Ole Miss. LSU has resources. LSU was one of the top tier jobs in college football. Ole Miss hasn't won an SEC championship game since the 60s. Yes, the 1960s, Ole Miss. The last time they were relevant was when Eli Manning was playing quarterback there. He's taken them to the college football playoff. They've had the most success they've ever had in the last 4 or 5 seasons with Jackson Dart and then Trinidad Chambliss now at quarterback. I understand Ole Miss. I totally get them being like, absolutely, you're not going to coach this team. You're not going to take Chambliss or Lacey, the running back, or the entire coaching staff. But people destroying Lane Kiffin, this is not 10 years ago where you recruited a guy and you said you sold him on the idea that you're going to be there and you're going to develop him. Then you dip out of town. All of a sudden the player can't transfer. If they do transfer, they have to sit out a whole year. So I get where the kids kind of get screwed. They're all going to transfer. Chambliss could transfer to LSU, the star quarterback. Half the team could be gone. Kids don't show loyalty to programs anymore, which is fine. I don't fault them because they're going to get their money. So why should coaches have to be held at the same standard of that? Lane Kiffin was doing best for him. This is a guy who got fired on the tarmac by USC. Okay, this is a guy who has kind of been through the ringer a little bit, and he finally gets the job, which he has deservedly earned at LSU. I don't know why people are bashing Lane Kiffin today. Like, I think he's completely in the right. I agree with you. The college football system, of the fact that you have to make these decisions in December, should be changed. They should have to wait till after the national championship game.
I agree. It's a bad system that's put in place right now. In fact, the only way this changes is if there are limits on how many times a college student can transfer between schools. There probably needs to be some sort of contract put into place. And nothing can happen to rosters until after the college football national championship game for any roster. That's the only way things like this don't happen in the future. And it's not Lane Kiffin's fault. All right, we're going to save Big 3, number 3 for coming up next. We're also going to kind of tie a bow on this Aztecs football season. They still got a bowl game coming up, and we don't know where that's going to be or when that's going to be. But in terms of the regular season, because like we were just talking about, a lot of things could change between now and the bowl game. So we'll tie a bow on that as well as get to Big 3. Number 3, that's next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Tomorrow night, 6:00, right here on San Diego Sports 760. It's SDFC Midweek Live. Hear from the head coach, Mikey Varis, as well as interviews with players and coaches. Find out the latest club and MLS information. SDFC Midweek Live tomorrow at 6, right here on your home for SDFC San Diego Sports 760. I would like to take a second and just say thank you to SDFC for the season that was.
Oh, yeah.
And B, it was a real honor here being on the station flagship for the first inaugural season. San Diego Sports 760 SDFC. I hope we have a long, fruitful relationship here, and that eventually this thing ends in a MLS Cup, because this was a lot of fun, and that wasn't really expected for me. This was the first year I've ever had following a soccer team, being a fan of a soccer team, and man, that was a blast. So plenty more seasons to come, plenty more success to come, and we'll see what happens in the future with this, man.
I mean, listen, I get everyone gets, everyone's a fan. Everyone wanted them to go to the MLS Cup and frustrated at the loss on Saturday. But the fact that if you would have told anyone who was even remotely being reasonable that they would make a Western Conference final in their first year, make the playoffs. I mean, they were picked to finish dead last. That's how crazy this season has been. Hats off to them. Hats off to the staff. It's so cool that what they're going to be able to do moving forward. I'm sure they're going to be able to attract some more high profile free agents, considering the year they had. I mean, and the fact you lose Olaski, you have the thing with Chucky Lozano, and you're still able to go this far. Truly awesome having them on the station. And can't wait to see what they do next year.
Yeah, our buddy John on YouTube saying brutal weekend, but as far as SDFC goes, you can't be mad at it. No matter what Jim I Loathe Sports says, this club will deliver a championship to San Diego. I think so too, man. They're built the right way. And it was a ton of fun to watch. I learned a lot this year and can't wait to see where that future goes for SDFC. And like a 3-1 loss, Vancouver jumped on them right away. The game was kind of over if you were watching after the first 25 minutes or so. But for them to hang in, fight their asses off all the way to the end. And here's the thing I'll say, because I don't know if we'll have time to get to it later in the day. Major League Baseball, steal this from MLS immediately. When you're watching the MLS postseason on Apple TV, you get to hear the local broadcasters for each game. So like I'm watching, what day was that? My days are all getting, was it Friday? Saturday night I'm watching, and I hit the little button to listen to Adrian and Darren. And man, the emotion from the local broadcast, you could hear it in their voices. Their hearts were breaking as that game was winding down, and they just did such a good job with it. Like imagine having Don and Mud on the call of some of these home games in Major League Baseball's postseason. It would just, I think it'd make it better for San Diegans. And hats off to Adrian and Darren. They did such a good job this season. They were fantastic, and the club was fantastic. It was a fun season. All right, Sammy, what was big three, number 3?
I was going to get to the Bears getting that big win in Philly, currently the number 1 seed in the NFC. I'm not going to say someone called that, but yours truly did. But are the Bears, did they prove that they are legit with a win over Philly on Friday?
See, the Bears are the biggest I don't know team in the NFL right now, because at times this season it looks amazing, and it looked amazing on Friday night against the Eagles. Everything was working in tandem. You got Ben Johnson shirtless in the locker room after the game. You could tell the Bears are on a real heater right now. I try to forecast that into the postseason and what the Chicago Bears look like, even if they're hosting the entire postseason, which I don't know. They got a pretty tough schedule to finish out the year, so we'll see. But if the Bears are hosting, as they're the number 1 seed, and they're hosting all the postseason games, can I imagine them in an NFC championship game? And the truth is right now, I can't.
I don't think they're a Super Bowl team yet.
I don't either.
The defense really bet now.
And Monungai, the run game is working for the Bears.
Yeah. But that's what was so impressive about Friday is
DeAndre Swift doing it to his old team was kind of sick.
Was awesome. And Monungai's been fantastic. The rookies. I mean, the way they won the game, they didn't go in there and just like kind of fluky. They beat up the Eagles.
They ran the ball down their throats.
And the Eagles, for everything that's gone wrong with them this year, have not really been beat up on the defensive side of the ball. When they have lost games, it's been because the offense is completely a shell of itself for a half or the full game, or after the Cowboys after the first quarter. So like the way they went in there, they finally got their signature win because they had beaten up on a bunch of sub 500 teams, and then the Steelers without Rodgers. That was a big win on the road. Listen, I think there's a cap on the Bears. I think the offense, it can be as good as anyone. The defensive side of the ball, they are very turnover reliant. But look at the last 2 weeks with the Bears. Strip sack by TJ Watt in the end zone against the Steelers. They come back and win that game, and you think could kind of go downhill from here. Then Caleb throws the pick on the screen pass that wasn't at the 50-yard line. all the momentum swings to Philly. They're still able to win that game. So the Bears, like, they got 2 games against the Packers. The Packers just beat the Lions.
They look damn good too.
The Packers look good, but I could easily see them splitting those games.
Yeah, for sure. Look, the Bears, they have the roster for it. Is Caleb Williams going to make the big plays at the big time? And so far to this point in the season, you got to give him credit. He's making big plays down the stretch of games. It's no longer just on script Caleb Williams. It's no longer the Bears jump out to a lead and the defense holds on. This is now, I mean, obviously the game against Philly was a little different. They just ran the ball straight down Philly's throat and said, deal with it. If you're going to stop us, you're going to have to stop us up front. And Philly couldn't. But if Caleb Williams can make big plays in big times, I don't know that there's a cap on this Bears team. It's been fun to watch. Good call, Sammy. How about a round of applause for Mr. Long, who had himself a rough week? Hashtag faith in Sammy.
Damn Chiefs, man.
Speaking of Sammy,
ruined my holiday season.
We're going to have a new long. Did they play on Christmas too?
Yeah, they do.
Can they go 2 for 2 this year and ruin both your big
They got to
holidays?
win out. It's very simple. If they win out, they're going to be in likely. If they don't, then they're not.
How pissed were you watching the Texans get the win yesterday?
Well, no, I was actually happy about that because the Colts dropping back to the wild card is good because the Chiefs have a wild card. They have a head-to-head tiebreaker over them. So I was actually pulling for Houston.
Okay.
Because the Chiefs play Houston. If the Chiefs lose to Houston, they're done. If they beat Houston, they'll have a tiebreaker. I'll tell you what I was pissed is when the Browns are dropping wide open punts on special teams.
Come on.
To let Brock Purdy and the offense look so much better than they were. That's what really pissed me off yesterday.
Sure. All right. It's San Diego Sports 760. Let's get into a little NFL and a look back at the season that was for San Diego State football on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by SDG&E. Giants Patriots tonight on Monday Night Football. Patriots currently with a win will have the number 1 seed in the AFC as of after week 13. Game will be at 5:15. New England is currently a 7.5 point favorite with the point total set at 46.5. Per reports, Jackson Dart coming off a concussion. They will limit his designed runs tonight. Mike Kafka and that offensive coaching staff. And then big news out of college football, Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss to go coach at LSU. Per reports, LSU will be spending $25 to $30 million per year on their roster to go win a national championship. He will not be coaching Ole Miss in the college football playoff. Did you know that energy demand and prices peak from 4 to 9 p.m.? Take control of your energy use and help save this winter. Use large appliances outside of on-peak hours and unplugged devices when not in use. Find more tips and energy-saving tools at sdgna.com/simple steps.
San Diego Sports 760. We got Lakers hoops tonight, right here on San Diego Sports 760. They got the Suns. Is that right, Sammy?
Yes, sir. Lakers on a little 7-game win streak, looking for 8.
Pre-game coverage tonight gets going at 6:45 right here on your home for the Lakers in San Diego Sports 760. All right, we're going to tie a bow on the Aztecs football season here in just a second. But first, Sammy, do you realize you and I have two of the toughest jobs in the world coming up tomorrow at this time at 12:30?
Oh yeah, we do.
We gotta try to power rank the NFL. The hell are we gonna do with that?
Oh, I've already got my list for that.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I've been trying to like kind of rack my head since last night. And tomorrow, Tuesdays usually during the NFL season is when all the major publications will put out their power rankings. So that's when Sammy and I do it as well. The major publication that we are here on San Diego Sports 760. So we're gonna do it tomorrow at 12:30. And I've been racking my head as to who should be number 1 on this week's power rankings, and I have no idea.
Yeah, it's because
I don't know who the number 1 team in the NFL
like
is.
Where
right
do
now.
you put Denver? Like Denver,
seriously,
Denver to me is not. They're not winning a Super Bowl. They're not going to a Super Bowl.
I don't think so either.
The roster's unbelievable. Bo Nix last night, they won in spite of Bo Nix. That
in spite of the defense was not good until overtime.
Well, also we're talking about some officiating in that game. You had the tripping penalty that wasn't called. They called a sack, and they don't give the 15 yards. They call the illegal formation, pass interference. Like Washington had a lot of calls going against them at the end of that game last night. And then Bo Nix throwing the ball right to Bobby Wagner. Washington, it's funny, gave you a little bit of a blueprint for the Broncos. If you don't rush him and you drop in a zone and rush 3 and make Bo Nix read the defense, he's not good at it. When you blitz everyone and you let him hit easy throws like crossers, he can be a decent to good quarterback in this league. The Washington may have exposed a little something with Bo Nix in Denver.
I like it. All right. Yeah, I'll tell you my most objective, whatever. My biggest objection from last night's Sunday night football game was the way Chris Collinsworth says Marcus Mariota's name.
Okay, I was talking about that too. I was like, what is going on?
Why was he doing that?
Mariota.
It was so weird. He put an extra syllable into Marcus Mariota's name, and I was baffled the entire game.
I was talking to my parents about this. I was like, wait, so they get to talk to the quarterbacks beforehand. Right. So maybe Mariota said
no, Mariota.
I'm like, but we've watched this guy all throughout Oregon. We watched him with his career with the Titans. Like
like Mike Tirico wasn't saying it weird.
I thought Tirico was
just Chris Collinsworth last night. And every single time he said his name, I was like, dude, you're saying it wrong. This is so weird. It took me out of the game completely.
Yeah, it was a little odd. He goes like Mariota. But shout out to Marcus Mariota, by the way. Like,
he played fantastic.
He played great in that game.
He only hit the turf once last night. Like Denver's defense, which has been just insane all year long. Mariota,
dude, they had him if he just lobs it over Benito.
Wide open. That would have won the game. By the way, I love the call to go for 2 in that situation.
Oh yeah,
that you have to, because there was like 3 minutes left in overtime at that point.
Then Denver would have either just won the game or tied. You're 3-8.
Right.
Like, why do you care about tying?
You have to go for 2 in that situation. So credit there. All right, we've been delaying it, but here it is. Aztecs football season. The regular season finishes up. Look, that's a 9-win year for San Diego State. They got 3 wins last year. Massive props go to the program. Sean Lewis turned this thing around. I'm excited for the future of the Aztecs. I really am. But if we look at Friday's game, in and of its lonesome, a lot goes into this, right? There was a horrible missed pass interference call, actually a called pass interference call against San Diego State that changed the entire outcome of the game. It was an interception, and then all of a sudden it wasn't because the flag comes out. They show the replay on CBS Sports Network. First of all, the pass was tipped, so it's not even eligible for a pass interference. Second of all, it wasn't a pass interference. Dwayne McDougal hits the guy. The second the ball gets there, it should not have been called. It was called. Whatever. No crying over spilt milk. San Diego State made some egregious mistakes in this game. They throw the touchdown pass to Jackson Wolf, the tight end, who was wide open on a perfectly designed play. Donovan Brown, who's actually the one wide receiver left in this unit, who's been there all season long, is covering up the tight end on the play, so they get an illegal formation. That gets called back, and it knocks him out of field goal range, and it's a loss of down. Gabe Placencia misses the field goal. He's been so solid all year long, it's hard to say anything bad about him, except for he missed the field goal. And look, it looked like he tried to put a little too much leg into it, if you ask me. Like he was trying to put a little extra oomph in it and pulled it a little bit. So that is what it is. Whatever. Game goes into overtime. First play of overtime, it's a nice defensive play, but it's not a great throw from Denegal. It's an interception. So you think the game's over, right? It's done. And then all of a sudden, New Mexico, for some reason, leaves the offense on the field when they could have kicked the field goal.
I didn't understand that. Like, unless the New Mexico kicker was so bad.
Were you listening to Rich and John?
No, I had it on my phone. I was at the Dumb Hall racetrack.
So Rich was actually baffled by Coach X's decision to leave the offense on the field. He was like, what are you doing? This is the only way you lose this football game is by leaving the offense on the field. And credit to San Diego State, their defense, they come through again and knock the ball out of the backup quarterback's hand who's looking to run in for a touchdown. And they knock it out and they get the fumble. And then all of a sudden it's a mad dash. The CBS cameras catch Denegal on the sideline looking for his helmet. Like he had already checked out of the game. It was so confusing to me. But he gets his helmet, gets back on the field, 3 straight penalties against the Aztecs offensive line.
Yeah.
It's inexcusable. It really is. A lot goes into a football game, obviously. The crowd in New Mexico was a great crowd. I give them a lot of credit. They impacted that game down to the last second. There was 37,000 people there. That's the biggest game New Mexico's had in like a decade. But San Diego State, self-inflicted wounds, lost them that game. And then it comes out after the fact because UNLV beats Nevada. San Diego State's not going to be in the Mountain West Championship game. They were a good enough good enough team all year long to deserve a spot in the Mountain West Championship game. But when it came down to it, they made more mistakes than New Mexico did in that game. And that sucks for that to be the way your season ends.
It was disappointing. It was a disappointing way to end because it was so sloppy at the end of the game with the penalties and the pick. They probably shouldn't have even been in the opportunity to have the penalties.
Double overtime shouldn't have existed.
Right. I mean, that shouldn't have even happened. It just felt like the Aztecs kind of kept getting bailed out at the end of that game with credit to them for forcing the fumble and everything. But like, it felt like they kept getting opportunities in the offense. Look, I get Napier's not there, but I mean, damn, like some of these, it was a tough watch at times. I don't know if it was receivers not getting open, Denegal not hitting his reads, but listen, overall, not how we want to end the season. It's a massive improvement from last season. I mean, if you would have said they had this many wins after a 3-win season last year, I think overall we'll look back at the season as a positive, as a growth. It is disappointing they're not in the Mountain West Conference Championship because that could have been a real boost for this program, going from 3 wins to playing in a Mountain West Conference Championship. So that's really a drag.
And it would have been here.
So like that again, it's an improvement of a season, not how we wanted it to end. Next year, the goal has to be to win the Mountain West Conference Championship. I know
Pac-12.
that is Pac-12. Yeah, Pac-12. Yeah, excuse me. The Pac-12, the Pac-8, whatever the hell it is. But like jumping to a new conference, there would have been a lot of momentum, especially recruiting momentum, had they won the Mountain West Conference Championship. It didn't happen, which sucks. But
that's not to say it still can't. Look, bowl game coming up. We don't know where it's going to be, when it's going to be. They are bowl eligible. They're going to get one at 9 wins. You would think they have to. And look, my measuring bar for success in college football, and I think the universal one kind of is, you get 10 wins. That's a great season. You get to 10 wins this year. That's an amazing season. And San Diego State absolutely can do it. We'll see where they end up in the bowl calendar.
It is funny because like they're going to be playing and there's a lot of bowls that maybe aren't, it's obviously not going to be some big bowl, but a bowl win for San Diego State will mean a lot more than a lot of programs because when you're trying to move from a 3, like if you're a team that just missed the college football playoff, if you're a Texas or SC or something like that and you win a bowl game that's not one of the big ones, you're kind of like, all right, well, we didn't make what we needed to be.
We'll collect that check and just go on our happy way.
Right, exactly. San Diego State winning a bowl game, I think, will change a little bit of how we feel right now after the outcome of this season. You lose the bowl game, I think there's really disappointing way to end the season, but listen, we'll see where they end up. Hopefully they can get a bowl win here in a couple weeks.
I will say the way Mountain West decides who plays in the Mountain West Championship game is maybe the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. I would say San Diego State might not deserve to be there after that game they played against New Mexico. New Mexico deserves to be there, in my opinion.
Right.
Like watching them win, watching the way they beat UNLV earlier this year. I look at New Mexico, who's had this total resurgent season, and I think, oh, this was really close between New Mexico and UNLV, and they just decided to give it to UNLV because it's in a bigger market. Like, that's honestly what I think. Right. San Diego State, if they would have won that game, they'd have been hosting it. They lost that game, and they made the mistakes. They got to live with that. There's a real argument to be made that through 12 games? No. 11 games through this season, San Diego State absolutely deserves to be in the Mountain West Championship, not through 12. And I can live with that.
Can I say something that it would have been awesome had the Aztecs got to host it in San Diego? Like, that would have been great. But why is the Mountain West, and maybe they just don't care anymore because they're on the way out or they're losing a bunch of teams? Like, why does a team get to host a conference championship game? Should be on a neutral site field.
I agree. It's so silly.
The Big Ten championship, it's not going to be in Indiana or in Ohio State. Like, it should be the two best teams of a conference getting together on a neutral site field, playing to find out who's the best. There should not be a home field advantage. There should not be a team traveling, getting to stay where they are. I thought that was kind of ridiculous with that. The fact that you get to host a game.
How about the fact that UNLV lost to two of the three teams who were all tied at the end of the year in terms of record, and UNLV's in the championship game?
Right. And to your point, they know that UNLV is in Vegas, and
come on,
it's a way bigger draw.
It's because they beat UCLA. That's the only reason they're there.
Right.
Because the metrics look back favorably on that because UCLA went on to beat Penn State, and so the metrics look back at that UNLV win over UCLA before UCLA was who UCLA is, by the way. But it doesn't matter because that's what computers spit out. I would have rather it been a coin toss. If you're gonna go based on skewed metrics, I think I would have rather it been a coin toss.
It's just like I like how the Big Ten got rid of, because for years the Big Ten, before they added SC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington, they used to do that two. There was like an East and West, or I forgot what they call it, East and West division. So the Big Ten championship game every year sucked because Ohio State would be fighting with Michigan and Penn State to get in. In Iowa, because of the division they were in, would always win it, go to the Big Ten championship game, and get schmacked by Ohio State or whoever. And they finally changed it to where the two best records, the two best teams in the Big Ten, are playing. That's why we get a great game on Saturday between Indiana and Ohio State. The two best teams in the country are going to be playing. It's some of these college football, like,
by the way, that game you'll hear right here on San Diego Sports.
That's going to be a great game. Great game.
Too. All right, you got long shots ready for us, Sammy?
I do. We got a little Monday night special, little NBA popping in there. We got some good stuff.
Let's let it rip. Coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app every single day. If you want to listen to us there, that is the best way to listen to the show. You can send us to your friends. Nice little share link. You could leave us talkback messages using the talkback mic, which is in the top right-hand corner when you're listening to San Diego Sports 760. So find us there. We got a busy week in terms of play-by-play. We'll set all that, but we got the Big Ten championship game coming up on Saturday. We got the Lakers tonight. We got Aztecs basketball returning to San Diego coming up on Wednesday. So lots of fun to come, but right now it's time for long shots, which is something we do week in and week out. Sammy, did you have something you'd like to say before long shots?
Yes. Just keep mentioning our text line is down right now. We want to hear from you.
Man, I hate the text line.
I love the text line.
So do I, but it's broken, so I hate it.
It's pissing me off that the last week we cannot hear the text from the people. We got some people rolling in on the stream, but if you want to leave us a talk back, it's a little red microphone at the top of the iHeartRadio app. When you click on us, we'd love to hear from you. We will play it next hour. We've had a few roll in. We'd love to get some more.
Or commenting on YouTube, like our friend Lori did. Loved all 4 of the Stranger Things episodes too.
Lori.
Can't wait till the next ones come out. Me neither. Man, I tell you what. My wife and I watched all of them together. We finished up yesterday morning before football started. There was one point in the 4th episode of the ones that dropped, and there was only 4 of them, where Kendall looked over at me, and there were legitimate tears rolling down my face. And nothing had happened. Like,
okay, don't be spoiling, because I've heard some things. I don't want to hear.
I swear to God, nothing happened to make me do this. It was the realization that it was coming to an end. Like, actually made me sad.
Didn't realize you were such a big Stranger Things fan.
Dude, I've watched the first 4 seasons probably 3 times each. And
what?
Now, yeah.
Stranger Things is not a rewatchable show.
It is to me, man. It's nostalgia. It's great music. It's everything all mixed up into one for me. And the storylines they all have going on at the same time, I think it's fantastic. It's the best thing TV has going right now. And I was so worried coming into this past week that they would screw it up with the final season. And at least through 4 episodes, they haven't so far. So I'm ready to be heard again if you want to screw it up the rest of the way. But man, it's good. If you haven't watched them yet, sprint.
I'm an episode in. It's good. It's good. I gotta tell you,
stop after 1.
No, because I watched. Yeah, this is my only problem though with this Stranger Things. I find myself the quote kids in the show who are now like they're all like 30, but they pretend like they're in high school still.
They're 21.
They annoy me. Like I like the old like Steve and Rob and all that. Like all the people at the top, like in the adults, are so much more like the kids in the show. Kind of wear me out a little bit.
Like they're your age, Sam.
I know.
Now do you understand how I feel about you?
Like,
sometimes?
Like Mike's always whining. He's like, God, we got to get to the thing. He's always like, Will is always getting harassed, and Mike is just like whining about something the entire show.
Oh, I think it's fantastic. Everything they put out, it's been so good to me. All right, Sammy, let's get to long shots. Make us all some money, would you? We need it after the week that we just had. Sammy, smash.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money and you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance.
Pay that man his money.
With long shots.
TD and I finally peer pressured Rich into watching Stranger Things. And he's in the first season right now. He's on like episode 6 or 7. And of course, as soon as we got in this morning, all Trav and I wanted to do was talk about the 4 episodes that came out. And so Rich is over there, literally hands over his ears, spouting out facts about ancient Egypt.
Does Rich like it?
Oh, he loves it.
Okay. Do you tell him that the one girl in the thing, you're like, she's married to John Bon Jovi's son?
Did you see she legally changed her name?
I would too if I had that Bon Jovi last name.
She went from Millie Bobby Brown, which was her original like God-given name, to Millie Bonnie Bon Jovi. So she's Millie Bon Bon.
Sammy Robbie has a real nice ring to it. All right, let's get the gambling.
Oh yeah, that's it. You trying to marry Margot Robbie and take her last name?
I would love to. Well, would absolutely love to. Not an offer I would turn down. All right, we're going to gambling, guys. We got to make some money. We got close on a couple of parlays over the weekend. Andre Yoshivas sold the parlay. He caught a touchdown. Rasheed Rice came on his over. Jameson Williams had the over, especially after Amon-Ra got hurt. Yoshivas had a big game. He just didn't get enough receiving yards. But tonight we have a 2 NFL parlay as well as 2 NBA. We'll start with the NFL. All right, Drake May, more than 25.5 rushing yards. Kayvon Thibodeau's out for this game. But I feel like the Giants are going to keep this a game. I know there's something about it. The Giants are kind of a team. They've had a lot of injuries. Cam Scatterbo, Malik Neighbors, Kayvon Thibodeau. A lot of guys are out. they're just kind of gritty. And you could tell they're kind of like enjoying playing for each other. And this, if you're a fan of the New York Giants, you probably got to be more excited than you have been in years.
Jameis Winston starting tonight?
No, Jackson Dart's back.
He's back.
Jackson Dart. Jay Darty's back.
They're worse.
Don't be Kate on Jackson Dart.
I like Jackson Dart, but they're worse if Jameis Winston isn't starting.
I don't know about that. Jackson Dart's been fantastic this year. Some of their biggest wins come with Jackson Dart. I got to disagree with you on that, even though I do love me some Jameis. Drake May, though, more than 25.5 rush yards. He's got to get out of the pocket because the one thing this Giants team can do, the secondary is not great. The pass rush is legit, though. You still got Dexter Lawrence. You still have Abdul Carter. You got a lot of guys on this team that can get after the passer. They were doing it against the Broncos. The Giants' losses this year have been heartbreaking. Remember, they were up on the Broncos, had that absolute collapse. The pass rush for the first 3 quarters was fantastic. Couldn't get it done there at the end. I do think Drake May is going to have to get out of the pocket a little bit. More than 25.5 rush yards. I also expect them to be winning in the game. So winding down a little bit of clock. Drake May, more than 25.5 rush yards. On the other side, we're going with the other quarterback, Jackson Dart, more than 19 pass completions. We're staying away from his yards. His yards are at 210.5. I get a little nervous with the fact that Neighbors isn't there, Scatabo isn't there. There's not a lot of talent around him with this team. I think this is going to be get the ball out of his hands fast. A lot of what Mariota was doing last night against the Denver Broncos. And there was a report that came out this morning. They're going to run him less because he got the concussion. He's the future of the franchise. Knowing this team isn't going anywhere this year, they're doing less designed runs for Jackson Dart. So how do you get kind of the running game going with less actual runs? Quick passes, get it out in space. More than 19 pass completions for Jackson Dart. All right, let's head to the association. Miami Clippers tonight. Jaime Jaquez, every time he plays a team from LA, this dude goes off. Played at UCLA, has been really good this year, was a great rookie, had a little bit of a down year last year, but has really kind of turned it around recently. Been averaging 13 points per game over his last 5. We're going more than 11.5 points against the Clippers. The Clippers defense is an abomination. I mean, seriously, the Clippers defense, the Lakers ran a rough shot over them last week. They do not backfill. They don't do simple things that you're taught when you're in high school. The Clippers defense is pretty rough. Jaime Jaquez going to feast tonight, more than 11.5 points. My last pick, DeAndre Ayton, Lakers Phoenix, here right here on San Diego Sports 760. DeAndre Ayton, more than 13.5 points for the Lakers. He did bang his knee last night against the Pelicans. They're expecting him to play. This is the team that drafted him number 1 overall. The Suns have kind of been taking shots before the season. Devin Booker was asked in the media scrum in Phoenix whether he thought it would work with DeAndre Ayton in LA, and his response was, well, I guess we'll have to see. Not a lot of love lost between DeAndre Ayton and the Suns. DeAndre Ayton actually had kind of a rough preseason against the Suns. He's been playing exceptional basketball recently, averaging about 16 points a game, about 10 rebounds. He had 22 last night. I think DeAndre Ayton puts on a show against his former team, more than 13.5 points.
I submitted too early. I went with 3.
Okay. Well,
I didn't know you were going 4.
All right, we're going 4. I'm going to recap. Drake May, more than 25.5 rush yards. Jackson Dart, more than 19 pass completions. Jaime Jaquez, more than 11.5 points. DeAndre Ayton, more than 13.5 points. I like this lineup tonight. I got a good feeling about it.
I like it a lot. John on YouTube says computers for determining first downs or catches are good. Computers for determining NCAA title games, not good.
Yes,
I got
agreed.
serious questions about the metrics. SD Tyler says, get us a winner, Sammy. He may have. And Mac Daddy, I'd rather watch a season of Saints versus Browns than watch Stranger Things. Come on.
Mac Daddy, Mac Daddy, Mac Daddy, what do you have you watched it and don't like it, or are you like, I'm not even interested in going there?
Dude, it's so good. It is so good. It's the best directed thing on television.
We're gonna get to break, but what's that show that what's your show? The text or the YouTube chat can get on this too. What's the show or movie that everyone has told you to watch so you don't watch it out of spite?
That's a good one.
Like Stranger Things. Like I love Stranger Things, but
mine is the morning show on Apple TV with Steve Carell and Jennifer Aniston.
Oh, I watched a little bit of that.
Everyone says it's amazing. I haven't even turned it on.
It's a little depressing.
See, I'm not into that. Give me Stranger Things. Stranger Things makes you feel pretty good inside and then makes you feel absolutely heartbroken.
Yeah, I would say I don't think Stranger Things makes you feel great all the time.
Ted Lasso,
fantastic.
Just smile on your face the whole time.
If you're depressed, turn on Ted Lasso. You're gonna feel better.
And Lucky says 2 things. Had we all survived, we would have gotten knocked out with the Eagles over Thanksgiving games. 2, is it just me or does Fletch sound like he's on his 8th Red Bull today? Thank you. I did have a lot of coffee this morning.
Yeah, you're a little jacked up today.
I didn't think about it. The Chiefs lost. Just makes me happy.
I just it's coming. The winter is coming, and I will be there, and I'll be sitting right here, and I'll be very excited for when the real Brock Purdy shows up.
Speaking of winter is coming, John Silva says Game of Thrones. I refuse to watch it.
I haven't watched Game of Thrones either.
Game of Thrones is amazing until it isn't.
I've heard the last season's terrible.
The first half of the last season is amazing, and then the last half of the last season is god awful. All right, San Diego Sports 760. Take a quick break here. Hour number 2 is coming up next. Keep those YouTube comments coming in. We love it. At San Diego Sports 760 on YouTube. Hour number 2, let's get into this weekend of the NFL because S was chaos, man. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. Monday Night Football. Jackson Dart will return for the New York Football Giants, taking on the New England Patriots live in Foxborough. Patriots looking for the number 1 overall seed in the AFC with a win after the week 13. New England is currently a 7.5 point favorite in the NBA tonight. Lakers looking for their 8th straight win, taking on the Phoenix Suns up there in Los Angeles. Lakers open as 6.5 point favorites, been bet down to 4.5. You hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Don't let data limits hold you back from being the gift master in the family group chat. Switch to Straight Talk Wireless and get real unlimited data on Verizon's 5G network. Straight Talk, available at straighttalk.com or Walmart.
Welcome to the Fletch Zone. Fletch Zone.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Into the Fletch Zone.
Not like other guys.
Where are we going in sports?
Sound off like you got a pair.
We have a lot to work off after the long weekend. A rough time for the Aztecs.
Jump ball, and it's out of the back of the end zone. New Mexico wins in 2 overtimes.
And SDFC.
A lot to be proud of, a lot to build upon going into next February, and I'm excited for 2026.
Meanwhile, the NFL didn't disappoint.
The kick is on the way. It's a line drive towards the uprights. It is good! And the Jets mount the folk hero.
What a win for the Carolina Panthers, knocking off the number 1 team in the NFC. Denver with the blitz on the way.
Deflected by Nick Bonito, and the Broncos win it.
Sammy, what happened?
There's a Landry shift up and down. Prescott takes the ball, takes the knee. The Cowboys are going to beat both the Eagles and the Chiefs.
Like, what the heck just happened?
While the 49ers shut down the dog pound.
Shotgun snap for Purdy. Fakes the give. He runs left. He's got a nose for the goal line, and he's in for a 49ers touchdown.
Plus Giants Patriots tonight. Time to unpack it all in the Fletch Zone.
All right, hour number 2. Let's get it going here on San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. John and Jim will take over then. Comment we got on YouTube in the last hour from Lucky Day on YouTube saying, talking about the Survivor League. Out of curiosity, I went and looked at Circa Survivor, which Sammy and I were in until the Bengals knocked us out by losing to the Jets. Safe to say we would not have survived up to this point. There was a couple different times we would have gotten knocked out based on
we don't know that. Maybe our opinion would have changed.
You're telling me we would have taken the Bears, Bengals, Cowboys, or Packers?
First off, I might have convinced you to take the Bears
against the Eagles. I don't know. I just don't think that our picks, we would have lasted to this point, but we got knocked out a while ago. Here's the point. Heading into Thanksgiving week, Circa splits it up into 2. So you got the Thanksgiving and Black Friday day games all in the same panel as its own week. And then you have what was the rest of week 13 in the NFL. Heading into Black Friday and Thanksgiving games, there was over 1,000 people left. Do you want to know how many people survived Thanksgiving and Black Friday?
How many?
49. You went from over 1,000 down to 49.
What's the evaluation at again?
389,000.
Oh my. Dude, like, what did I do for this holiday season to have us knocked out of Circa, Chiefs losing? I mean,
wait till they lose on Christmas.
Unbelievable. By the way, though, if hypothetically, because for next year when we are going to win the whole thing,
sure.
This year was a warm up year. You know, we had to kind of.
This year has also just been chaos in the NFL. It felt like there hasn't been a safe pick any week of the season.
What was the threshold where you would want to sell the ticket? Because so if you're not familiar with Circa,
$389,000, that feels like the threshold.
See, I think though selling the ticket, what you would do though is you pick your team and you drop big bets in Vegas the other way. So like if you, I don't know, let's say you pick the Bears against Philly, okay?
Okay.
And the Bears end up winning the game, but let's say we didn't know that heading into it. The Bears obviously would keep us alive. If you drop the big bet on Philly, that way, either way, you're advancing with Circa, getting more evaluation, or you're winning your single bet.
Feels like that gets really expensive really fast.
But you're guaranteed to make money.
Yeah. I mean, it's hedging your bets, but you're not going to see. I feel like if we were going to stick in it, you just make your picks all the way to the end, and your $1,000 investment is your $1,000 investment, and maybe you get millions on the other side. I don't think you need to get too deep into the weeds on everything else. But $389,000.
Well, I would have considered being bought out for that.
If you and me were sitting here right now having this conversation, and we had an offer for $400,000, Sammy, we are not turning that money down.
I mean, what would have happened is because Fletch has some people that were in on it with him. Is we would have said to all of our listeners, we would have had a secret code that we would have let you know that we actually won, but then his buddies wouldn't have known, thought we would have lost, so we would have been able to split the money 4 ways instead of 6 ways. Just some food for thought.
That's I'm a little confused, and I would not do
if
that
you
to
would
my
have
friends.
told your boys that, because I had control of the ticket,
sure,
of the entry,
sure,
you could have told. They had no idea if we won or lost. So you could have.
I'm not a liar, Sammy. I don't go through life like that.
I'm just saying, you talk about buying a house left and right. That's all you talk about. Do you want the house or not?
By the way, call Gary Cooper today, 858-376-1299. If you're trying to buy a house, you can call Gary and he'll talk you through the process. Or, you know what, if you're selling a house, maybe looking for a refi, Gary Cooper's the man for you. I tell you what.
You could have been buying a house right now if we wouldn't have picked the Cincinnati Bengals.
I'm trying to, Sammy. It's hard, okay?
Gary was counting on you, and you let him down by picking the Cincinnati Bengals.
Dude, we're working with Gary on a damn near weekly basis on buying a house. It's not easy out in these streets, all right? San Diego, I don't know if you've noticed, it just keeps going up and up and up in terms of housing cost. But we'll get there. I have faith. Within the next calendar year, me and Kendall will be signing a deed on a house. All right. It's San Diego Sports 760. Each and every hour, we do something called the Big Three, where Sammy Long takes us through the top stories in the world of sports. Maybe today's top story is that if you call Gary Cooper at 858-376-1299,
going ad read, ladies and gentlemen.
You are going to get a hell of a deal on a house. That's what I tell you, Sammy. Smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
Speaking of Gary Cooper, he's one of the many people I've been texting with over the last few days about just how rough a week of San Diego sports we've had. Man, Gary Cooper is a massive Aztec fan. He's an SDFC fan. And to watch what unfolded over the last few days has been rough for all of us. So, Sammy, spread some good news here. Where are we going with the big three?
Let's spread some holiday cheer, even though not feeling very festive. Let's talk about the AFC North. So the Ravens lose, get beat by the Cincinnati Bengals. The Steelers end up losing to Buffalo on Sunday. Someone has to make the playoffs from the division. Ravens currently ahead at 6-6. They'll be playing the Steelers, who are 6-6 this week. The Cincinnati Bengals just won and are now 4-8. What team of those three would be the most dangerous in the postseason in the AFC field if whoever gets in?
I mean, it's the Bengals would be the most dangerous, but they're not the team that's going to get in. I do think it's going to be the Ravens. What they've now played the Bengals twice this year.
They play them again next week.
They play them one more time. I tell you what, the Bengals are out to ruin some seasons at this point. It's pretty fun.
They play
to watch.
Buffalo this weekend.
Oof. All right, I'm gonna say the Ravens because they have the best shot to get in, and I do still feel like the Ravens are a dangerous team. They haven't really shown it this year. Lamar Jackson looks a step slower, but I do feel like the Ravens are the most dangerous team if they get in.
Over the Bengals, if let's just say hypothetically they both get in, because the Bengals have a shot to get in. You think they're more dangerous?
So the funniest text I got all weekend actually was during that Bengals-Ravens game. Rich Ornberger texted me and said, "Oh my God, you guys Bengals learned how to defense." And they kind of did. Their defense looked decent against the Ravens. So yeah, my answer would be the Bengals initially, like I said. However, I just don't think they get in. So it's kind of a moot point.
I'm not ready to give up on the Ravens. I think it's the Ravens, no doubt. The Pittsburgh has no offense, and although I kept kind of believing in Pittsburgh, they just don't have enough weapons. Like DK Metcalf can't be the only guy that can catch a football. Like you're not.
Jalen Warren's pretty nice.
Yeah, but again, running back. You need someone on the outside to go push a defense. DK Metcalf's the only guy that can do that. I think the Steelers are done. The Bengals, I think I want to give them credit because Joe Burrow's back. They're always going to be dangerous with Burrow at quarterback. They were a little fortunate. They knocked the ball out the 1 yard line. Like there were some fortunate things in that game. Divisional matchup, knowing Baltimore well. I do still think Baltimore.
Isaiah Likely fumbled out the back of the end zone, right?
I believe it was Isaiah Likely. Yeah.
I'm trying to work my brain back. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, so like yes, they made some stops, but they committed some untimely turnovers. I'm not ready to give up on the Ravens. Like I get Lamar hasn't looked the same. He hasn't cracked the passer rating above 65 in the last few weeks. But Lamar Jackson, I keep going back to this. It feels like if the Ravens are able to sneak in, zero pressure on them because they were left for dead. Like they were 1-5. And the Ravens have always gone in the postseason being the number 1 seed, being the team that boat races everyone. Remember when they destroyed the Lions a few years ago in Baltimore? They destroy NFC teams, destroyed everyone in the AFC. The Chiefs ended up beating them in the AFC Championship game. I feel like with a little bit of a narrative change where it's not all on Lamar, because if the Ravens are playing the Jags in the postseason, I'm picking Baltimore.
Sure.
If they're playing the Colts, if they're playing Denver, I might pick Baltimore. Like there is something from Lamar Jackson has been there before, and a lot of these quarterbacks haven't. So I do still think the Ravens, if they get in, could actually be really dangerous in the AFC postseason.
Just to be devil's advocate here, you think about the Baltimore Ravens, and you mentioned it. Lamar against NFC teams has this otherworldly record and usually blows teams out because teams are not used to quarterbacks moving the way he moves. And he's lightning fast, and he has been his whole career, except for this year. Whatever hamstring issue he had when he played against the Chiefs, it's still a problem for him. And Lamar Jackson, a lot like wide receivers, like we've seen this with some of the super fast guys, if they get a hamstring injury early in the year, their production just continues to decrease. Well, if Lamar's still dealing with that, and he does look a step slow, and his escapability isn't quite there anymore, at least for this season, all of a sudden the Ravens' whole magic show, their whole Houdini trick with Lamar Jackson kind of goes out the window. So if that's the case, how dangerous are they? They're a wounded bird.
That's fair. I just think the AFC, like there is really not a dominant team in the AFC.
In the NFL.
In the NFL. And I could see it like in the AFC, it's going to be tough to predict because there's a lot of I don't
you mentioned Indianapolis. So Daniel Jones isn't Daniel Jones right now because he's playing on a broken leg,
and they just lost Sauce Gardner. So are they going to follow the postseason? Like that's a real thought. That's not crazy to think. Like this Colts team has kind of gotten found out a little bit. We'll see. Let's say kind of with the Baltimore Ravens, Chiefs, outside looking in of the postseason. Let's say hypothetically both miss the playoffs. My guys aren't dead yet. Just want to throw that out there. But let's just say they both miss the playoffs. Outside of Josh Allen, so I think we can both agree that Josh Allen becomes the most pressure in the AFC to actually go win a Super Bowl.
And he'll have an asterisk on that Super Bowl, by the way, even if he does win it.
Yeah, because he didn't have to go through Mahomes. But let's just outside of Josh Allen, what quarterback in the AFC field will have the most pressure on him to get through the AFC?
Oof.
So assuming no Lamar and no Mahomes.
All right, so let's talk about it. It's right now, if that's the case, it would be Colts, Chargers, Jags, Patriots, Broncos. Those are the others, right? Those are the others in the AFC who would be in the postseason.
Possibly, if the Chiefs are missing it, that likely means that the Texans probably win the game on Sunday. Maybe CJ Stroud's in, so all those quarterbacks.
Okay, so Daniel Jones, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Drake May, Bo Nix. That's the field we're choosing from, and potentially CJ Stroud as well. In terms of pressure, do any of them really have all that much outside of Justin Herbert? My answer would be no. So Justin Herbert's going to have the most pressure. Like Trevor Lawrence.
But Herbert gets yes, I agree with you.
It'd be Trevor Lawrence or Justin Herbert.
Because Herbert gets the excuse of Herbert's going to get to say. Now, if Herbert gets blown out in the first round of the postseason, especially if he loses to like a Bo Nix or someone who's younger than him.
Because I look at the Chargers and I'm like, oh, injuries everywhere. They don't have a shot at the Super Bowl, but Justin Herbert is that Super Bowl quality quarterback that the Chargers have that maybe the other teams don't.
If Lamar and Mahomes aren't there, and let's say Burrow's not there, he would be the second best quarterback in the field in my estimation behind Josh Allen. You could argue Drake May, but we haven't seen it yet in the postseason. I guess we haven't seen it with Herbert, but Herbert's done it for longer, so I'm going to give it to Herbert.
Herbert's been in the postseason, and he played well enough to win, and the defense gave up 35 points in the second half.
It's fair. Herbert would be the guy because Josh Allen for sure becomes the number one. If you're Josh Allen and you can't win it with Mahomes out, like we start going with this field, there's some major concerns about Josh Allen's legacy.
Yes.
Then you go to Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, I agree with you. Justin Herbert's going to have the excuse, though, that his offensive line is all out. Now, I'm with you that he's going to have to win. Trevor Lawrence is the next guy. It's funny, if the Texans sneak in, CJ Stroud is going to have a lot of pressure because CJ Stroud was anointed year one, went to the playoffs, lost to Baltimore. No one really faulted him because it was his first year and that Baltimore team was stacked. Last year was a disaster. Dealt with some injuries this year. If they beat the Chiefs on Sunday and are able to kind of go to the postseason, they would be kind of the hot team getting in with the best defense in football.
And by the way, yesterday, all of a sudden, Nico Collins got going a little bit.
Right. So if Stroud wants to be that next guy, it would be him. And then I think Bo Nix, not in terms of the fact that, like Drake May, if they lose in the first round, Drake May is the quarterback of the future. You know he's a starter for New England. If Bo Nix loses in the first round,
he got to the playoffs last year, got their asses kicked by the Bills, I believe. Bills. Yeah.
But if Bo Nix gets blown out in the first round, you start to think with the amount of talent on the Denver roster, there's going to be real questions coming out of Denver. Can Bo Nix lead you there? Because you got to figure Mahomes is going to be back next year. Lamar's going to be back next year. These guys aren't going away. So if you can't win it in a year where you're not dealing with maybe two of the three best quarterbacks in the NFL, how does that bode for you going forward?
Yeah, you remember there was a year in the NBA. It was in the middle of the Warriors dynasty where like Steph got hurt at the beginning of the year. Clay got hurt at the beginning of the year. And it was just a shell of the Warriors. It was all the young guys. And so everyone else in the West, you were like, oh, this is the shot year. Now. Right. And some teams stepped up, some teams didn't. It kind of feels like that in the AFC this year. Like if there's going to be a year for the Jags to step up and make a run, for the Texans, like you said, with a great defense to
Trevor
step
Lawrence
up and make
too.
a run.
I don't think they have the roster go to Super Bowl, but Trevor Lawrence has to remind people that he was the number one overall
pick. And for Josh Allen, if the Bills
far and away,
if they don't win the Super Bowl this year, the question goes, will Buffalo ever get to another one?
Because if you're Josh Allen, no Mahomes, no Lamar, I don't care. You're going on the road.
Was it 04 that Brady tore his ACL right at the start of the year?
Yes.
And all of a sudden it was like Peyton Manning, this is your time, dude.
Right, because if Josh Allen were to, he would be losing to a New England. First off, if New England got, the worst look for Josh Allen would be if he lost and New England got there, and now all of a sudden you start to go, Drake May's the guy in the division. Sounds crazy, but that's what the narrative would be.
Dude, I hate it when the NFL postseason comes around because it means the NFL season's almost over.
I know, it's so sad.
But this year's NFL postseason, it feels like something's in the air to where for the first time in a while, it's not going to be the same old blank who's in the Super Bowl this year. We're going to get new teams. It's going to be fun. Hopefully one of the old teams is the Niners who's in it, but we'll see. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Quick break here. On the other side, SDFC, man, we give them a lot of props here, and we'll continue to do so. That's next on San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. Hey, tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, you'll hear SDFC Midweek Live. You'll hear from the head coach, Mikey Varas, as well as interviews with players and coaches. And that's tomorrow at 6 right here on San Diego Sports 760. We're your home of SDFC, have been all season long. On Saturday, if you were listening here on the radio or if you were watching on Apple TV, you could hear Adrian Garcia Marquez and Darren Smith calling the game. And they did a great job like they have all year long. And you could, I think, hear as that game was kind of coming to a close, the emotions and the gratitude they had towards the season that SDFC had. And that's kind of how I was feeling watching the game. So look, it was quick in that one. It was 3-0 by the time the game even really got going. Vancouver was able to hit right away on all 3 of their goals. And then SDFC, they made a game out of it, I guess, in the second half. Chucky scored the goal, and then Anders Dreyer had an opportunity. He had a moment where it looked like the whole game could get flipped on its head, but it just wasn't to be. And I think he actually ended up getting a yellow card on the play, if I'm remembering correctly, but it was kind of a kick on the ground after the fact. So, look, that night is what that night was. I don't think it should take away what the season was for SDFC, and for them to come in and kind of bring something brand new to San Diego that we haven't had, and for it to take over the culture for a little bit was really, really cool. And it showed what San Diego can do as a sports town. And look, if anybody's watching what the MLS just did in San Diego for the future, maybe more things can come our ways, because that was an absolute stamp of approval. Snapdragon was packed for every single home match, and it was just one of the best environments in sports this past season. And I give a lot of credit to Tom Penn and Mikey Varas and all the powers that be over at SDFC for making that happen and contributing that to an already sort of booming sports scene with the Padres packing Petco like they never have before. I don't know if everyone saw it, but WWE in the house on Saturday night, Petco was booming, baby. So it's like we have this thing in SDFC that just sort of appears in the landscape, and people have been fighting for 3 decades behind the scenes to get this to happen here in San Diego. And for it to finally happen was an awesome thing to watch. And for them to get to the Western Conference Finals was an awesome thing to watch. And to have a voice like Adrian Garcia Marquez on the broadcast all year long, who has literally called every big sporting moment over the last couple of decades in terms of Spanish TV. Listen to the emotion that's coming out of this man at the end of that broadcast on Saturday night and tell me this is something special. We'll play it for you in a little bit, but it was so cool to see.
Yeah, they that game, like looking at the game specifically, they had, it sucks that the own goal happened because, you're down 2-0 with 10 minutes to go, like 10 minutes into the game, the crowd's going crazy. You got to credit SDFC for fighting there. Chucky with the goal, Dreyer almost getting that one. Then they get the card, which was kind of a drag that they had to deal with that the rest of the game. But yeah, overall, I mean, what this team was able to do, and I think if you look at hockey for say, look at the Vegas Golden Knights, look at what Las Vegas did, because there's been a narrative nationally, which is ridiculous, around this city, because the city's so nice that everyone wants to visit. You'd see Charger games and Padre games, and they'd be filled up with opposing fans. Because if you ask people in the Midwest, go, hey, do you want to go travel and see your team on the road in Minnesota or San Diego? People are picking San Diego. Like, it's just, they make a weekend out of it. So this national narratives that was being spewed that, San Diego wasn't a great sports town, or that they didn't care about their teams, which was really nonsense.
Yes.
We all know that locally, because you see what happens with the Padres, you see what happens with the Aztecs, and SDFC comes in here and changes the whole thing. Vegas had a lot of this. People forget Vegas was, before the Raiders and the Golden Knights went there was always a thought of that Vegas couldn't host a professional sports team because it's such a tourist town. People aren't really going to care. UNLV football doesn't draw very well. They get the Golden Knights, and it's the hottest place to be in the NHL. In the Raiders, they put on huge events there every weekend. So, like, you saw what SDFC was able to do, just bringing a raucous crowd. Mueller, the Vancouver Whitecap player, kind of talked about it actually post game. I don't think he meant it as a shot to SDFC. He was talking about how they just had a massive defeat, and yet they're saying the fans are staying and celebrating the team for what they were able to give this season. Watching soccer kind of explode in the States. So it was listen, not how we all wanted it to end. Unreal season. I mean, no one could have predicted that, going to the Western Conference Finals. And just so excited to see what they're able to build upon next season.
There's no other words to describe that season as a unmitigated success. Like, it was really, really great to see what SDFC was able to do here in just 1 year's time. Can't wait to see what it does over the next decade, 10 years. Can we hear from Adrian Garcia Marquez on the broadcast Saturday night? Let's take a listen.
San Diego FC. The journey ends here tonight, but it's been a heck of a journey. We've all had the privilege of being part of this. From day one, San Diego FC have built a team, have built an existence for a long, sustained, successful future. The first team to get a playoff berth. They win the Western Conference. They get 19 wins, most wins by an expansion side. 63 points, another record for an expansion team. 37 points on the road. Everything that they did as road warriors with the 12 wins at away parks. A lot to be proud of for San Diego FC. I'm proud to be a part of this team.
No one says it better. And on YouTube, our buddy John saying the Murph Dragon nickname from Adrian Garcia Marquez is solid. And he
Yes,
says
sir.
it a lot, and it sounds good, man. Adrian's a guy who's obviously from this area, who has also been part of this fight to bring an MLS team here, and to have him as part of our family here on San Diego Sports 760. It really does feel like we have a little bit of royalty in our midst. A guy who, if you don't know, has called World Cup games, has called NBA championships, called Kobe's final game with the Lakers, had called the World Series this year on Fox Deportes. Like, Adrian has done it all, man. And for this to mean that much to him,
that was cool last week before we get to break, when he was talking about, you asked him, you were like, what was the most excited you've ever been to call a game? And he said it was Kobe's last game in SDFC this past weekend. Like, that's it just shows you how much he means Southern California and the city. Yeah, Adrian's the best, man. Darren cool, too, was fantastic.
Darren, who, by the way, like Darren, we talked to him about this. He's been a radio guy his entire career. And then all of a sudden this year gets thrown into calling games, which the mechanics are completely different things.
It's a lot harder than it looks. It sounds like
this isn't a surprise to anyone, but if you threw me in a broadcast booth right now, it'd be a disaster. And the way Darren's handled this has been awesome. And he had to jump in and do play-by-play a couple of games this year. Like, John Schaefer's been training his whole career to be a play-by-play guy. That's why it sounds so great when John does it. That's not what Darren's ever done.
That's why I wanted so badly for John to not be able to make the game when he was coming back on the flight, and let Jim Russell just do one game by himself and just sit there and experience it and listen all of San Diego. It would have been terrible, but it would have been fantastic.
Dude, it's a hard thing these guys have to do. Like, I watch the amount of prep that Rich puts into his card, and he's doing color analyst for these Aztec games. And it's a different level of being ready for something. You got to know every minute detail down to the basic ones and twos for each guy, and it's a tricky thing to do. And in soccer, it's different. Like, Darren's having to say some of these names, Adrian's having to say some of these names from guys from all over the world, and it's a different thing. And they did such a good job with it this year. It's been fun to watch. All right, break here. On the other side, you'll hear some more audio, this time from Bill Cower. Oh man, talking about Lane Kiffin. Wait till you hear this. That's on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. Lane Kiffin being introduced at his introductory press conference today at LSU. Ole Miss will not let him coach the team in the college football playoff. They have a 99.9% chance of getting in. LSU is expected to spend between $25 and $30 million per year on its roster. The NFL tonight, Giants, Patriots in Foxborough, 5:15. New England is currently a 7.5 point favorite. And then on San Diego Sports 760 tonight, the Lakers looking for their 8th straight win, taking on the Phoenix Suns at 7 o'clock. Lakers are currently 4.5 point favorites in that one. Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. John and Jim will take over then. Our buddy Passport Comics on YouTube says, why are college coaches allowed to be hired to a new team before the season ends? Also, if you mentioned this already, why didn't Kiffin talk to his players after he made the decision, or did he? Look, the Lane Kiffin thing took over the sports world here over the last couple of days, as it should. It's a seismic landscape shifting moment in college football. And I think it points out a lot of flaws within the NCAA currently. Me and Sammy could sit here all day and tell you what we think. I personally don't blame Lane Kiffin. I blame the NCAA. Bill Cowher, who's one of the most decorated coaches of all time.
Love me some Bill Cowher.
Regardless of level, now does an excellent job. He's on the CBS team for the NFL. His reaction was different to mine and Sammy's. Let's take a listen to a little bit of a 5-minute rant that Bill Cowher went on.
The NCAA has got a problem. There's no guardrails. This landscape it's involved right now, not just with players. I'm talking even the coaches, but even with players. You're talking about the portal, the NIL. We have now got this landscape is totally out of control. It's a wild, wild west out there, and something needs to be done. And hopefully a situation like this, where those players at Ole Miss, they're the losers in this thing. Because this guy just left them, abandoned them,
and disrupted everything.
Everything.
Hey, let me just add to that too, because you know what?
And I just let me say one last thing. I understand that he went, and I don't have any problem with that. But you know what? If you go, then go, and wish them nothing but the best. Don't disrupt that program. Don't take any of those coaches. Let them stay and let them finish the job that you left because you didn't want to finish it because you decided you want to go somewhere else. That's fine. But
here's Bill Cowher's thing. Bill Cowher comes from an era of football where honor mattered, integrity and loyalty mattered.
Yeah.
That's no longer football, at least not at the college level. And here's the problem. This is not Lane Kiffin's fault. This is the NCAA's fault. This is the system that college football has built to make this even possible for Lane Kiffin, not to mention players all over the sport, to be able to leave their programs. And now last year, this was a much bigger problem. I don't know about you guys. I was at a game here in San Diego between Washington State and Syracuse. There was the Holiday Bowl last year, where essentially Washington State's entire team was not on the field.
John Mateer already got the offer to go to Oklahoma.
Exactly.
Right now.
And the head coach wasn't there for Washington State either, by the way. How about a couple years before that? USC was down here for the Holiday Bowl. And a guy named Miller Moss was on the field throwing touchdown passes because the quarterback had already left in the transfer portal. This is a problem that college football has right now. It's not just the coaches. It's not just the players. It's the whole thing. And if your anger is directed at Lane Kiffin in this situation, sure, it's not a great look for him. You think he cares? He's laughing all the way to the bank. He just got a better job for more money, which is what we're all aspiring to do at any level of whatever we do. More fulfilling, more money, more everything. If you don't have that, that's great. And you're an awesome person. I can't look in the mirror and say the same thing. So congratulations to Lane Kiffin is what people should be saying today, probably. The way he did it, is it in poor taste? Sure. Who cares? That's what college football is right now. The NCAA itself is in poor taste.
I don't even think Lane Kiffin should be blamed at all. Like, no. I don't get this. So, okay, Bill Cowher, the audio we just played. I love me some Bill Cowher, and I get where he's coming from. He's coming from a time when college football head coaches, you promised guys, you promised kids, you said, come to my program. I will develop you, get you to the NFL. You're going to be here for 2 years, 4 years, whatever you're going to be.
Not only that, but you sit in the parents' living room and promise that to the moms of the players.
Right. The whole family, and they maybe upend their life to come there. So I understand.
And you're almost adopting a player as a son at that point.
100%. 20 years ago, I got when players were like, screw this dude. You sell me on how you're going to build me up and you're going to boost up my brand, and then you dip out, and I'm stuck here. And the transfer rules didn't allow for you to play the next season. You had to sit out a season. There was a waiver. There was a wait list. So by the time you got to play football again, all your luster's kind of been lost. Lane Kiffin is only doing what's best for him. I don't fault him. Ole Miss has not won a SEC championship game since the 60s. Ole Miss had some of the best years they've ever had outside of Eli Manning the last few. They're going to the college football playoff. They have a pretty good team in the college football playoff, actually. They're not like a favorite, but they're certainly not like one of the worst in the pack of the 12 getting in. Lane Kiffin, I get Ole Miss's decision to not let him coach. I get why Lane Kiffin wants to coach. He's the one that took him there. But I heard Scott Van Pelt say this last night. It's a divorce. He goes, you don't let, after you cheat on him with the neighbor, the LSU, the bigger, sexier neighbor down the street, you don't let him come to Christmas. Scott Van Pelt said that.
Sammy's into the bigger, sexier neighbor. We've learned a lot of things here.
But to that rationale, I get what there's. Ole Miss is like, absolutely not. This is our longtime rival. You're not going to go coach us.
Sure.
While you just left them. But getting after Lane Kiffin, like Lane Kiffin somehow is wrong for taking one of the most high-profile jobs in college football, a school that's going to spend much more money. Why are we faulting him for that? This is a massive problem with college basketball in college football. College basketball last year, I believe it was Trey Donaldson, the guard from Michigan, in the portal while they are in the Sweet 16. You almost get benefited from getting knocked out of March Madness or the college football playoff early because the teams that are still in it are trying to win, where you get to go on the recruiting trail and try to get after some of these players.
Now, here's why I think Ole Miss is absolutely allowed to be pissed off at this decision. Ole Miss also changed everything they do for Lane Kiffin. Ole Miss also was able to go out and secure a bunch of NIL money for Lane Kiffin to build a roster. Now, Lane Kiffin has a big part of that too. He has the recognizable name. I'm sure he's out there pounding on doors, going to car dealerships, doing the signings, all those different things. But Ole Miss is the one allowing you to do that. And their athletic department is the ones taking steps to make sure that the money they spent on bringing Lane Kiffin over wasn't wasted money. So I get why Ole Miss is pissed. I get why people are pissed at Lane Kiffin, although I think it's the wrong place to be pissed at. Look to the head of the monster. The NCAA has put in seemingly zero effort into stopping this type of stuff from happening.
Ryan Day said last year, and I believe it was Ryan Day, or I completely agree with whoever said this. Ohio State and Notre Dame played for the national championship on January 14th, I believe, or whatever the hell it was last year. They're this year. The next day is when it should all open, the transfer portal, everything. Because Ohio State...
And they did move it this year. I don't think they moved it past the national championship.
But they moved it back a little bit.
But they moved it back, so it's not like right now you're seeing players enter the transfer.
Notre Dame and Ohio State should not be getting penalized for winning football games when you want to win football games. Because sometimes the best thing for a program is to be... let's say Texas doesn't get in, or USC, or one of these schools that are just on the outside. Well, USC is the #1 recruiting class next year. Why do you think that is? Because they're able to go out and pound the pavement and be selling these kids on USC football, where a lot of the other, like as a USC fan, I'm happy. But if I'm a school that's still playing, if I'm Ole Miss who's still trying to win a national championship, I get why people are frustrated from Ole Miss. You feel like you left them for someone else, but that's just the way this is. Lane Kiffin was fired on a tarmac from USC. I don't fault Lane Kiffin for doing what's best for him and his family, for a guy who's kind of been cast aside for a long time in college football.
Now, the kind of funny parts about this, Lane Kiffin on his own X account, his Twitter account, put out a picture of a tiger with a bunch of LSU colors.
Yeah, I saw that.
Guess what Lane Kiffin didn't do? Change his bio in the app. It still says head coach at Ole Miss, which is kind of hilarious. Secondly, there's already predictions coming out. I think there's actually betting lines, not on any legitimate places, but other places, on whether or not Lane Kiffin changes his voice at the opening press conference because of the Brian Kelly thing. We'll see.
Did you see real quick before we get to break? So there's actually, this is one of the rare times Vegas doesn't know what to do. There's a whole article on ESPN. Just check it out if you're listening. They're talking about how to set Ole Miss's odds for the playoff.
Oh,
because
interesting.
I believe they were like the 6th, 7th, or 8th best odds to win the thing. I don't remember exactly what it is.
They're going to go in as potentially a 5 seed, right?
A 5 to 7. They think they're going to be playing Alabama in that 7-10 game. But so they were kind of middle of the pack. But Vegas has even said, some of the leaders of the sports books have came out and been like, I don't really know how to put Ole Miss. Does Lane Kiffin drop them a lot? A couple sports books have dropped them, their odds to like 9-10. Does it really not matter that much? So there's a lot of vulnerability.
What if the team is extra motivated because they're
Right.
pissed? Man, there's a lot going on.
You got a lot of people pulling for Ole Miss too. Huh?
Which way would you go?
I think Lane Kiffin's a massive loss because his offensive mindset.
It's Jimmy's and Joe's, Sammy, not X's and O's.
I think if they play Alabama, I'll be pulling for Ole Miss. I think Alabama probably wins that game. But Trinidad Chambliss is a bad man at quarterback.
Yeah, but what if he says I'm not playing?
But he wouldn't do that in a college football playoff.
What if? There's a chance he could say, no, my coach is in here. I'm not playing. I'm going to go play for LSU next year.
Well, that would open up a whole different can of worms if you have, because we've seen guys.
You felt like Lane Kiffin didn't have a conversation with him saying, hey, dude, I'm going to go take this job. I would love for you to come be the starting quarterback at LSU next year.
Now, I don't think if you're a player, you're not going to pass up the opportunity to play in a college football playoff. Like we're talking about the Holiday Bowl last year.
Sure, he's got a chance to up his stock, but don't you think he has more chance? He's not going to go into the NFL draft this year. So wouldn't you say he has more chance next year?
Well, to that point, that's why people are like, why don't you let Lane Kiffin coach Ole Miss? Ole Miss is like, absolutely not. I'm not giving you a month to poach our coaches, Chambliss, Lacey, the running back, all the best players in the team. No way.
Start developing some freshman who's been buried on the depth chart saying, hey, next year, don't worry, you're coming my way.
No shot. I get Ole Miss with that.
It's college football's in a mess right now. I don't know how it gets fixed, by the way. There's got to be someone working on this at the NCAA. I would hope, but the fix is contracts for players.
Yes.
Moving the transfer portal, and there's got to be something with head coaches too.
Well, and before we get to break,
the system can't allow for this to happen.
I know you said you were talking with Rich this morning about this. I don't want to speak for you guys, but I like this idea. You guys talked about how I was thought there should be limits on how many times you can transfer.
Yeah, Rich brought this up to me this morning. He said there should be 2 times throughout a collegiate career that you can transfer without getting penalized.
We should get Rich on and talk about it because I'm curious what people would think about that.
It used to be if you hit if you transferred to a different school, you sat out a year.
Right. So people wouldn't do it unless they literally were like, you're not going to play here.
That just disappeared during COVID.
Right. Because and then you have 7th year seniors because guys get the COVID eligibility rules. They were true freshmen. So now you have guys who are like 25, 26 playing college football right now.
Crazy. That's the world that college sports is in right now. And I don't like it. Like Michigan's basketball team, which I'm going to give them a lot. They look like the best team in the country right now.
Yeah.
I think they're number 1 in the net rankings. They might be 2 or 3 in the AP.
Yeah, they jumped up today. I saw.
Yeah. So good for Michigan.
Right.
You know, Michigan's team is completely unrecognizable from the Sweet 16 team a year ago, and they spent $14 million in NIL. Like, is that what you want, NCAA? Do you want teams to be able to just completely, like, it's going to turn to the Dodgers real quick. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and I know we keep saying we're going to get to break, but last thing, college basketball. What's something that people fall in love with March Madness? They fall in love with the fact that Cinderellas. And the thing is, why you see so many upsets is to see Cinderella teams who are small schools that play together for 4 years, maybe going up against some of the most high NBA draft picks, but all highly touted freshmen, all playing up in their first time in March Madness.
Let me tell you, Steph Curry does not exist in 2025.
No, because
Steph Curry gets poached by Kentucky when he's a sophomore.
Exactly. There's no more of the Cinderella teams that have played together. Look at St. Peter's. St. Peter's 2 best players when they went on the run and their head coach both went to larger programs.
All right, if we go any longer, we're not going to have a final segment today. We got to get out of here. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, coming up next week, two of my favorite days of the year, man. It's our Rady Children's Give-a-thon here at San Diego Sports 760. You can join San Diego Sports 760, ESET, SeaWorld, Cable Pipe and Leak Detection, and Crowley Car Company to support Rady Children's Hospital this holiday season. On Tuesday, December 9th and Wednesday, December 10th, you're going to hear stories of hope and healing from Rady Children's patients and families during the iHeart Rady Children's Give-a-thon. Make a donation today by texting sports to 51555 or donate at radyfoundation.org/giveathon. Hold those until Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. We get competitive here with other radio stations. We want to raise the most amount of money.
Yes, we do.
But it's the best cause you can donate to this time of year, man. Rady Children's Days, those are tough days, but it's worth it what we do. I think this will be my 9th one I've been a part of, I think. And it's two of the best days of the year, every single year. So get ready for that coming up next Tuesday and Wednesday. It'll be a different sounding show, but it's two of the best shows we do all year long. So stay tuned. That's coming up. All right, Sammy, you ready for some breaking news to end the day?
Let's hear it.
Some breaking news to end the day?
We got locks for Monday Night Football?
We will in a second, but first, have you ever heard the name Brady Campbell?
Brady C? No.
Brady Campbell might be a name you hear a lot more of here over the next couple of years. Brady Campbell is a 3-star quarterback who's currently in high school out of Bakersfield.
Bakersfield!
Is that where you were born? Where were you born? You've lived in 90 different places.
Yeah, I was born in Bakersfield, lived in Palm Springs, Palm Desert,
Right,
LA,
no one cares
Seattle,
about the rest of
Phoenix. You know,
You were born in Bakersfield. So
born
that
in the
proves
field.
that greatness can come out of Bakersfield.
Hey, you know what? Myself and Derek and David Carr.
Oh,
Shout out to
right.
Bakersfield.
The Carr brothers came out of there. And then
Carr
they
brothers came out of
played
Bakersfield.
college in Fresno. So I grew up in Merced, which is about an hour and a half away from Bakersfield. And people who grew up in Merced make fun of Bakersfield. So enjoy that.
What is there to make fun of?
Bakersfield is just truly the armpit of California. But
First off, you can't talk if you're from Fresno.
I'm from Merced. Very different than
Okay,
Fresno.
then Fresno is an
Look,
experience and not in a good way.
They're all pieces of crap in the center of California. I loved where I grew up. I can acknowledge what it is, though, because now I live in San Diego and I went to college in San Luis Obispo. Those are two of the
San Luis Obispo is nice.
Oh, those are two of the best parts of the state. And then there's the center of California, and we can just be very honest.
Shout out to the field.
Fresno, Merced, Lodi, Bakersfield, Winton, Atwater, all kind of the same thing. Doesn't mean I don't love it. I do. That's where I'm from. But Brady Campbell goes to high school in Bakersfield
BC.
Currently. He just committed to San Diego State.
Greatness from
3-star
Bakersfield.
quarterback. Can't wait to meet him. Brady, welcome to the Mesa.
He's definitely coming on the show as a Bakersfield link.
And we're going to talk all about Bakersfield, man.
We're talking about the hot spots, the popping clubs up there in Bakersfield.
There's a spot in Bakersfield. It's just off the 99 freeway.
Wars.
When I'm driving, and I always pull over to get gas at this one spot because right across the street is Bakersfield Strip Club. I don't even know the name of it. It feels like you're going to get stabbed the whole time you're there. It's chaos. Just in the neighborhood of greatness where Brady Campbell's from. Can't wait to meet you, man.
Should we ask Brady if he's been there?
Probably not. John and Jim are next. We're done for today. Sammy, real quick, money line.
Patriots 2017 tonight.
I like it. I'm going with it too. John's next.